Good evening, everyone, and welcome here also on my behalf. First of all, I'd like to thank the great hosts of this evening, and I'm very happy that the first TEDx event is at UHasselt from all universities, because indeed the University of Hasselt is a very small university, but also a university that has very good contact with the students. And I think that will be one of the messages of tonight. And I'm going to speak to you about the Next Generation Challenge. Now, it may seem very ambitious, but it will boil down to a very simple message, but more of that in a minute. So, as the rector already said, I was last year the president of the Flemish Student Union. And when you are president of the Flemish Student Union, you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to be involved in lots of discussions. And you meet old people, or let's say old people, elderly people, who have their opinions on students. And during my term as a president of VVS, I got to meet some old crocodiles. And first of all, I'd like to start you with the generation drama. In fact, it may seem very dramatic, but you will see why. You know, every one of you, I think, knows this person. He is one of those old crocodiles you see when you are 1 year in VVS. You see this person, and he says that the generation which I was the student leader of, it's the generation that prefers to strike on Monday to Friday because on Saturday they have to take a Ryanair flight to I don't know where. Now, you may be agreeing with him, or you may be not, but I don't. I think he is wrong, in fact. And I think that is a bit, let's say, it's a bit exemplary for the way these sort of people think about youth and about the young generation. And I was very surprised when I heard it, and it was a big commotion because it was also in the newspapers and stuff like that. So I got to learn about what is, in fact, that generation gap, and in fact, what is the problem with the whole thing. And I got this interesting quote. It says, "Most conflicts of generational communication come from the tension between needs and rights that are incompatible. Norms and needs are different from each generation and even more so for each person." I thought this was very interesting. And I was looking for, I thought to myself, is it true that our norms and what we need is different from previous generations? And I found this very interesting study on millennial students that said that 52% of the millennials think that being a good parent is very important. 30% wants to have a successful marriage, 21% wants to help other people, and 20% wants to own a home, and there is still 1% that want to become famous in their life. So in fact, I thought this is not all that different from what the old crocodile in the beginning wanted with his life, for I don't know, in his specific case, what he really wanted. But you see, in fact, these are things that also elderly people, also older generations want. So then I thought, what is then the problem? Why are these people saying that we are lazy, we don't come to the streets, we don't protest? I think because our way of advocating, our way of distributing our message is fundamentally different from his generation. So I mean, the voice may change, the way in which we tell our stuff, the way in which we want to express ourselves, that has changed, I agree with that, but the message stays the same. And you may compare it with the Dodgem situation. You know, those little bum cars we used to sit on when we were young, and we still do. It's a bit like that. You know, we're all driving our little car around the Dodgem stage, and we get these bumps from all over the place. From everywhere we get bumps. We get bumps from television, from Twitter, from Facebook, from everywhere we look around. Every day we get bumps around, and we need to drive our way through that. And in this sort of Dodgem society, everyone is in the cloud. So everyone can express himself, everyone can say whatever he wants, every student can say whatever he wants, every young guy can say whatever he wants. So the way in which we react is fundamentally different to that. And what is important for this generation, and what is important to see, is that it is a knowledge-driven economy. The next-gen economy starts with the brain. And that is really important when we are looking in this very nice area of a university. This is where the future is. This is where it's going to happen. It will all start in universities. I don't know if you know this picture, but it was very iconic in the time. It was the initiative of Flanders to have technology, to start a big campaign for more technology in schools. Today we have this. It's also very iconic. It's the Vlaanderen in Actie initiative that said that in 2020 Flanders will be a learning and innovating society. Very shocking. Now I will tell you a little secret. All over the world, regions want to be the top 5 region that is top in and leading in innovation and in learning. So this is what it basically boils all down to: let the little gray cells work, which is a very good thing you can hang above your bed. So how can we achieve this innovative, good learning society? Well, it's by building strong bridges. By building strong bridges in education and innovation, and listening to what this young millennial student wants. And I'll come back to that in 1 minute. So we need also our Sputnik moment in Flanders, because this is what the President of the United States said in his State of the Union. It's not like Vlaanderen in Actie, it's more like a Sputnik moment he was referring to. So it happens all over the world. There is a very interesting study of the Kansas State University in America, and they made a Google document where they put all the students, well, a lot of students, 200 students, could say what keeps them busy in their university teaching. And these are a few of the results. 64% said, no, not 64%, the majority said that 64% of the class reading they have to do is actually done. And 26% from that reading is actually relevant to their life. The average student there reads 8 books a year, has 2,300 internet pages he reads, and 1,230 Facebook profiles. He writes 24 pages for class, yet he writes 500 pages of email a year, just to tell to you. And one student said, when I graduate, I will probably do something that doesn't exist today. And that is actually what it all boils down to. It will be a future where we're not sure what is going to happen, yet we have to make educational schemes that foresees those changes and that prepares us for these major changes that have to come. So we did not create problems, but they are our problems. Some of the people say young people are not interested in what is happening around in the world. That's not true. Every young person, not every young person, but the vast majority of young persons are busy with big issues, yet they don't come to street to it every day. Times have changed. So we may ask ourselves the question, is our education ready for the next gen challenge? Well, I think we have still a long way to go. This might shock some teachers in the room. It says, he who can does, he who cannot teaches. Oh, that's maybe not true for everyone that teaches, but it is still in a lot of classrooms in Flanders or in Belgium. It is the teacher in front that tells what to do, says what you have to learn, and what you can do with it. I think when you have this sort of education, you create donkeys. This is a sort of donkey education where you load your donkey full of knowledge. You say, go up the hill and please give it back to us, and then come down again and you will graduate. This creates donkey overload. You can see the poor student lying there underneath, under all those heavy burdens that comes up to him. So you have really crazy students who end up, in psychiatry and stuff like that. No, this is over the top. What we need is a student-centered approach to learning. This may not seem very shocking, but in reality it is. We need to think of new ways of teaching where not the professor in front of the classroom is the middle of the universe, but the student is the middle of the universe. And we really need to think of how we can look to the students and ask them what their talents are, what their creativity is, and what they can be innovative in the future. So otherwise we end up with these sort of situation where, you know, people want to be creative, but people say, we don't have time, we have to study these lists, and then we'll come back to it. So there is no one truth. It is a very diverse situation. It's very diverse. We need to fully implement the multi-talented students. We need to ask them, what are your specific creative skills? What will you do in life and stuff like that? Because we start with people, we put them in boxes in the beginning of secondary education. We'll put them into higher education, and you know, they come up and they say, yeah, what have I learned at the end of the day? I have a lot of skills I didn't start. So we need to stop putting people in boxes. We need to look at the student as something, not as something, as someone who has a range of skills, who can be innovative and stuff like that. So challenge these opportunities. We have a lot of people, professors, who really want to do stuff like that, but they are, you know, they can't because the groups are too big, or they can't connect with them, and that's another problem. Trees don't grow big in small pots. You cannot put people in boxes and ask them to grow big if you don't give a very good soil to them, with creativity and with lots of things to interact. So professors should be, in the future, should be the architects of the minds. Still that, there need to be guidance, and there has to be guidance. But they have to, in the future, they have to think more of what the student can do, because the student is in the center of his learning. I think it's really important if we want to be innovative in the future, because everyone says the West can stay, because the West can lead the way, because, you know, we have these ancient things. We have ancient universities, we have ancient ways of you know, getting around, but the thing is changing. If you look to entrepreneurs, the first thing they say today is we need talent. We need talent, otherwise we'll look for it elsewhere. This is Chinese, but I translated it to English. And it says, tell me and I'll forget, show me and I may remember, involve me and I'll understand. I think this is very important, because we tend to forget that the student can actually do something as well during his courses. Last year we started an initiative to test Twitter during the courses. And you can't imagine what happens. People are saying, this is a crazy idea. Professor said, yeah, and if that is the next thing, what will be next? Students who will call me, and video conferences. I said, yes, that exists already. And then they had to agree, of course. But I think we really need to interact with them. I think every challenge can be an opportunity, and this is the same within a university construction. If you are in the classroom and everyone is using his smartphone and everyone is using his iPad or stuff like that, please don't say put everything away and, you know, just look to the lesson, but use this. Use this. If this is the world of students today, then use it. That's I think it's normal. So we need active citizen education. That is education that asks for the students as well, because I see a lot of students here, that ask from you as well to engage and to be active during the courses, because sometimes you have professors coming over from the United States and saying, yes, what do you expect of the course? And everyone remains silent. I think this is very recognizable to a lot of students. That's because we are not used to it. We're not used to interact. We're not used to be very active during our courses. Maybe here in Hasselt that is different, but as I hear from your rector, that must be the case. But in a lot of universities, it is not. So this model needs confidence, guidance, direction, but very important is focus. We need to focus in our courses what do we want to do, and how do we want to achieve it. And so I would say to everyone who is scared of new ways of thinking, of new ways of doing education, if you are scared of it, you should use it. Coming back to that Twitter little thing, there was one professor who said, I'm very scared of it. He tried it, and now he is, now every 2 lessons he installs a Twitter wall. So I think that is that may be a message for you tonight. So this was in brief what I think about the Next Gen Challenge, and I hope that during the night we will hear very interesting things that we also can implement in education. I thank you.